The Simpsons predictions for 2025 are terrifying. Coincidence or a scripted reality? What if The Simpsons isn't just a cartoon? What if, hidden within its humor, are premonitions of a future already decided, a blueprint crafted by forces beyond our control? For over 30 years, this animated series has stunned the world with its eerie ability to predict technological revolutions, political upheavals, and catastrophic global events. From foreseeing Donald Trump's presidency to predicting pandemics, AI domination, and economic collapse, its accuracy is chilling. But as we step into 2025, the warnings take a sinister turn. Like the 3 dark days foretold in the Bible, these predictions may hint at a future more ominous than we can imagine. If you see the signs unfolding, like and follow Jesus' good news. The truth is closer than you think. Let's begin.
It's the rapture, Shauna. The rapture. The virtuous have gone to heaven, and the rest of us have been left below.
Firstly, are we on the brink of the apocalypse? In the Simpsons episode, Thank God It's Doomsday, Homer Simpson watches a movie about the biblical apocalypse with Lisa and Bart after a day at the mall. Unlike his children, Homer is struck with terror. He starts proclaiming that the stars are falling from the sky and that the end is near. Labeled a fool when nothing happens, he later realizes he simply miscalculated the date. Eventually, the world comes to an end, and in desperatio N, Homer pleads with God to save his family. In the end, God grants mercy, and Homer awakens from what seems to be just a dream, reunited with his loved ones. But what if The Simpsons aren't just making jokes but foretelling something far greater? The prophecy of the 3 days of darkness, a long-predicted event in Christian eschatology, has been spoken of by saints and visionaries for centuries. Could 2025 be the moment when the world is plunged into darkness, chaos, and divine judgment? The eerie accuracy of The Simpsons in predicting real-world events, combined with growing global instability, has left many wondering if this is yet another warning. And in the Bible warns us, "For you yourselves are fully aware that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night." 1 Thessalonians 5:2. While the world may mock the signs, those with faith know the truth. The time to prepare is now. Will you be ready?
The wildfires that are devastating Southern California have now burned for over a week, with more high winds expected today.
One striking example is the Treehouse of Horror series from The Simpsons, particularly the Dry Hard segment in Treehouse of Horror that 17. This is not just a fictional story about Springfield consumed by chaos. It feels like an ominous prophecy of what is happening right now in our own country. Have you ever wondered if what we watch on TV, those seemingly harmless cartoons, might be hiding a darker message about our future? Are these disasters, which seem to exist only in our imagination, truly just coincidences? Or are they a carefully crafted script waiting to unfold upon humanity? At this moment, America is battling devastating wildfires, especially in California. The numbers are staggering. Over 160 square kilometers of forest have been destroyed. At least 25 people have lost their lives, 13 remain missing, and more than 180,000 have been forced to evacuate their homes. These fires have not only scorched landscapes and property, but have left behind heartbreaking losses and memories that cannot be undone. The sight of blazing flames consuming everything in their path, painting the sky a fiery red, brings to mind visions of an apocalyptic end. But is this really just a coincidence? In The Simpsons, Springfield descends into chaos due to scarcity and mismanagement, while in reality, we are witnessing nature's wrath, seemingly in response to humanity's neglect. Yet, what makes this even more unsettling is the idea that perhaps an invisible hand, a shadowy force, is orchestrating these events, turning what once seemed like far-fetched scenarios into an alarming reality. So, what are we to do in a world where the future seems increasingly uncertain? Natural disasters like these wildfires are not just isolated incidents. They are wake-up calls, a reminder that we need to change course. But this is not a call to panic. It is a call to unite. to find purpose and understanding in the midst of these challenges. God reassures us, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Even when everything around us appears to be falling apart, we are not alone. He has promised to guide us and give us the strength to overcome any trial, even the fiercest of fires. Let your faith be the torch that lights the way through these dark times, for his light will never dim. Now, moving to the next event, Donald Trump's re-election as President of the United States has stirred significant public debate, particularly as many recall the eerily accurate predictions from The Simpsons. In an episode aired in 2000, The Simpsons depicted Donald Trump as president, a forecast that came true in 2016 and has now repeated itself in 2024. Adding to the mystery is another strange connection: the infamous photo of Trump alongside Saudi and Egyptian leaders placing their hands on a glowing orb during his 2017 Middle East visit. This real-life moment mirrors scenes from The Simpsons, fueling further discussions about the show's uncanny ability to predict future events. Additionally, a widely circulated image on social media has captured significant attention. The symbolic scene of Donald Trump lying motionless in a coffin, featured in The Simpsons, has sparked heated debates and theories. This haunting image is said to foreshadow a potential future event, speculating whether he might be affected by a dangerous virus or even be involved in an assassination attempt. While this scene is merely a fictional moment in an animated series, it has ignited public imagination. Many are left wondering, is this another chilling prediction by The Simpsons, or is it just an astonishing coincidence? Recent events such as the global pandemic and concerns about the health of senior political leaders have only made this image more thought-provoking. It's essential to emphasize that this is purely fictional, with no evidence to support the theories surrounding it. However, its impact serves as a reminder of how media and pop culture can shape our perception of political and societal events. Number 4, World War III, a chilling prophecy for 2025. From the escalating war in Ukraine to rising tensions in the Middle East and the growing standoff between global superpowers, the world is inching dangerously close to a large-scale conflict. As we enter 2025, many fear that World War III is no longer a distant nightmare but an impending reality. Strangely, The Simpsons has hinted at this before. In a 1987 short, Homer panics, convinced that WW3 has begun, and frantically urges his family to take shelter. Other episodes have depicted global war scenarios, from nuclear strikes to international crises spiraling out of control. Given the show's eerie history of predicting real-world events, fans can't help but wonder, was this a warning all along? With nations stockpiling weapons, alliances shifting, and new military technologies emerging, the stage is set for unprecedented conflict. Will 2025 be the year that history repeats itself in the worst way possible? As tensions continue to rise, one thing is certain: we are living in dangerous times, and the world may be closer to the brink than ever before. Next is moving to Mars. The Simpsons might just be onto something again with their wild predictions. Back in an episode, Lisa and Marge joined a mission to colonize Mars. Lisa, ever the idealist, signed up for a one-way trip to the Red Planet. Marge wasn't about to let her daughter leave alone. In a twist only The Simpsons could deliver, the entire family ended up packing their bags for Mars. The show's timeline guessed that Mars colonization would kick off before 2026. Sure, the first mission flopped, but by 2051, Lisa and Marge made it there. And just when things seemed settled, Lisa decided Mars wasn't enough and planned to head to Venus instead, classic Lisa. Now, with Elon Musk and SpaceX making big moves, that once fictional idea feels closer than ever. SpaceX is already testing rockets and lining up volunteers eager to trade Earth for a Martian life. It's wild to think that what seemed like a cartoon's crazy plot is starting to match up with real-world plans. Mars might actually be within reach. Economic collapse. The global economy has faced many ups and downs in recent years, and the United States has been hit hard. A financial crisis in the US or China would, in theory, have a global effect. In 2020, the US printed $3.3 trillion, raising fears of severe inflation and an eventual global financial meltdown. Right now, people are struggling with jobs and securing homes, and experts believe this is just the beginning. Things will likely get worse in the coming year. Interestingly, The Simpsons might have predicted this in a 2000 episode called Bart to the Future. The show predicted an economic collapse during a Trump presidency. While Trump isn't president now, he could be sworn in by January, making the show's prediction eerily similar to real-life events. Whether this is just a strange coincidence or something more remains unclear. With the economy in a fragile state, keeping an eye on your finances is wise since the future is uncertain. Pandemic and murder hornets combination. One of the most shocking Simpsons predictions comes from the 1993 episode Marge in Chains, which eerily foreshadowed two real-world events: the COVID-19 pandemic and the arrival of murder hornets in the US. In the episode, a flu virus spreads from Japan to Springfield after contaminated juice shipments are imported. This bears a striking similarity to how COVID-19 spread globally. Even more strangely, the episode features a chaotic hospital scene where crates labeled killer bees are accidentally released. Could 2025 see another deadly virus and another insect invasion? If this virus spreads to a weaker health system, it could cause unimaginable havoc. Given The Simpsons' track record of accurate predictions, this eerie parallel is hard to ignore. The Shard in London. The Shard is a famous skyscraper in London, a unique structure resembling the tip of an intergalactic spear. It has captured people's imagination and become a popular filming location. But what if a cartoon predicted its existence years before it was built? That's exactly what some fans believe happened in a 1995 episode of The Simpsons. In this episode, Lisa Simpson goes on a school trip to London in a futuristic flash-forward. In the background, alongside the iconic Tower Bridge, a mysterious skyscraper appears a shape strikingly similar to the Shard. Here's the weird part. The Shard wasn't built until 2009, 14 years after the episode aired. Was this a random coincidence, or did The Simpsons predict the future again? Number 6, about black hole. Back in 2013, The Simpsons gave us a creepy black hole story in Treehouse of Horror 23. A tiny black hole shows up in Springfield, and things go downhill fast. At first, it starts swallowing random stuff, but the more it eats, the bigger it gets, until it's pulling in everything and everyone. By the end, Springfield is gone, sucked into another dimension. But instead of being destroyed, the people of Springfield find themselves in a strange new world, surrounded by aliens who seem oddly welcoming. This idea of black holes as portals to other dimensions might sound like pure joke, but with the pace of space exploration, it's starting to look more intriguing. India's latest space missions are already diving into the mysteries of black holes, with researchers hoping to learn more about how they work. Could black holes actually lead to other realms? As we step into 2025, these theories are getting some serious attention. What once seemed like a cartoon's wild imagination could be closer to the truth than we ever thought. AI takeover. Experts have warned for years that artificial intelligence could replace human jobs. Surprisingly, The Simpsons saw it coming. In a 2012 episode called The Informant, Homer Simpson loses his job at the Springfield nuclear power plant because robots take over. Mr. Burns, the plant's owner, delivers a chilling line: "Humans will train these robots, you will train them, and they will replace you." This is eerily similar to how AI tools today are trained by humans before taking over tasks in coding, finance, and creative work. The Simpsons also predicted AI dangers in a 1994 episode, Itchy and Scratchy Land, where a theme park run by robots descends into chaos after the machines become self-aware. While meant as humor, these episodes now feel like warnings about the risks of advanced AI. As we approach 2025, concerns over AI replacing jobs and even rebelling against humans seem more real than ever. 3D printed foods. In the episode The Food Wife from season 23, The Simpsons introduced us to the idea of 3D printed food, where meals are made layer by layer, almost like a mini food factory. Back then it seemed like a quirky, futuristic idea, But now it's becoming real. Companies around the world are already working on 3D printers that can make everything from chocolate to pizza. Some even want to make it more sustainable, using things like algae or plant-based ingredients to print protein-packed meals. By 2025, we could be printing our own food at home, or grabbing a freshly printed slice of pizza or dessert at a restaurant. With growing interest in sustainability and food innovation, 3D printed meals might soon be as regular as grabbing a frozen dinner and popping it in the microwave. It's pretty wild to think how close we are to living out a Simpsons episode in our own kitchens. Virtual dining. The Simpsons once imagined a world where dining went virtual, and it was both funny and unsettling. In a futuristic episode, Homer and Marge used VR headsets and feeding tubes to enjoy virtual fudge. However, Homer wasn't impressed, saying it tasted awful. While the idea seemed far-fetched back then, it's becoming real. Companies like Aerobanquets RMX are making virtual dining experiences a reality, where each bite of food takes you to a different virtual location. Even cruise lines like Royal Caribbean are experimenting with VR dining to enhance their onboard experiences. The show also hinted at the downsides of this technology. In the episode, people immersed in VR started losing touch with the real world, wandering aimlessly with headsets on. This concern feels relevant as VR becomes more common in everyday life. Virtual dining may sound exciting, but The Simpsons' take on it shows how it could impact our social lives and habits. Eating through a feeding tube while being mentally transported elsewhere might seem futuristic, but it raises the question of how much technology will shape even our simplest pleasures this year. Zombie apocalypse. The Simpsons showed a wild zombie apocalypse scenario in the Treehouse of Horror XX episode, where a food disaster set everything in motion. It all began with Burger 2, a twisted creation made from cannibalistic cows. When Kent Brockman took the first bite, he turned into a muncher, a zombie-like creature driven by hunger. The infection spread rapidly, turning Springfield into a chaotic mess. The Simpson family managed to survive, with Bart somehow immune to the outbreak. While zombies may seem like a stretch, the idea of a food-related crisis causing widespread panic is not. Issues like foodborne illnesses, unsafe farming practices, and experimental food production have shown how vulnerable the global food supply really is. Outbreaks of deadly pathogens in the past, such as E. coli and Salmonella, have already caused serious concern. The episode also captured how quickly panic can take over when food safety is compromised. As food production becomes more advanced and risks increase, the thought of an unexpected crisis affecting millions feels more plausible than ever, making this Simpsons prediction hit closer to home. Do not be afraid, hold fast to your faith. Dear brothers and sisters, as we look around this world, we see wars, plagues, famine, and darkness creeping in. Many fear the 3 days of darkness, the coming tribulations, and the unknown disasters ahead. But God has not called us to live in fear, He has called us to live in faith. The Lord has spoken. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. Isaiah 43, 1-2. Even if the world shakes, God remains our unshakable refuge. He has foretold these trials not to terrify us, but to prepare us and strengthen our trust in His return. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. Psalm 91:5-7. Remember, God's light always shines in the darkness. During the 3 days of darkness, He will protect those who place their faith in Him. This is not the end, it is the beginning, the moment when Christ is about to return in glory. The future is uncertain, but the signs are all around us. Share your thoughts, spread the message, and don't forget to follow for more shocking revelations. Brothers and sisters, pray, purify your hearts, and let the Lord be your guiding light. Be strong, do not fear. Your God will come, He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. Isaiah 35:4. The day of Jesus' return is near. He will wipe away every tear, break every chain, and lead us into His eternal kingdom. Trust, wait, and believe, for his light will soon shine upon the world.